Welcome to Frontrunners Innovate, where we connect you to global leaders meeting the world's challenges through business and innovation. Our guest for this episode is Mimi Donaldson. Mimi is a TED Talk preparation expert and a professional speaker trainer with a background in corporate training with the likes of Disney and Northrop. She has coached politicians to give state-of-the-economy addresses, celebrities to give talks, founders to give pitch presentations, and speakers who have to give keynote addresses. And you'll get a sample of her expertise today, along with me and a few co-hosts. Here with me today are Elsa Wilkin of Kenwa Consulting, Lumbie Mlambo of JB Dondolo, Michaelene Holder-March of MHM Health Consultancy and the Caribbean Global Awards, Emma Oliveira, our dental and medical businesswoman, and Tsegga Medhin of the Pearl Leadership Institute. Now, I'm your host, Mary Curick, CEO of Frontrunners Development, a global business development company that connects businesses to change the world. So let's get you and these frontrunners connected to Mimi right now. So we are back with Frontrunners Innovate, and familiar faces all around except for one. And that one is our interview guest today, and that's Mimi Donaldson. And Mimi is in California, but the rest of the faces you're seeing here are not. They're all over, spread all over. And there may be a couple more faces that'll join us as we move along, but this is our panel co-hosting opportunity today. And so the panel that you see before you are wonderful folks that do great impact works all over the world. And we want to bring them to the surface here and show them off and some of the cool things that they're doing and allow them to have the opportunity, we're getting one to come in now, allow them to have the opportunity to share a little bit about themselves, but also as Mimi shares about what she's doing in the world of training speakers, professional speakers, then they'll have an opportunity to ask questions and dig in more to get some insights from her that may impact their speaking journey. So what I want to do is start with the co-hosts and have you get to know them a little bit. So I'm going to start with Tsegga Medhin, and Tsegga, you will be kind enough to share a little bit about yourself and the work that you're doing out of the Research Triangle Park area of North Carolina.
Thank you. Hey, good morning, change makers. I like to call you all change makers because this room is definitely filled with not only humans, but mostly change makers that have made this world a better place. And with that, I'd like to let you know that I have also been part of that group because I find that that's the one that has been my GPS for the last 15 years. Ever since I was invited to speak at the UN on behalf of women in science in 2015 when they were formulating the Sustainable Development Goal plans for 2030. And so just like all of you, this room is giving us a chance to really amplify our voices and that of many that are not on these platforms. I've worked for IBM for several years as the corporate social responsibility site manager. So I understand the meaning of donation and requests, and also opening the envelope for many. But most importantly for me, the SDGs have been my human GPS, and I'm looking forward to listening and learning from all the excellent experiences and challenges that we're facing, and making sure that we continue to be the change makers that we're meant to be. So Mary, thank you for inviting me to this platform. As always, I find it to be always intriguing and inspiring. I yield back to you.
Thank you. Michaelene, thanks for joining us from the UK. And we're just doing some little introductions now of the co-hosting panel. So since I see you right in front of me, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Michaelene Holder-March, and I am a healthcare executive. I do transformation programs, and I have my own company, but I'm also the founder of the Caribbean Global Awards, which actually recognize exemplars in our society across the globe. And that is going to be held on the 28th of September in London, UK. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Michaelene. Let's carry on with the Caribbean theme, shall we? Elsa, why don't you share a little bit?
Hi, I'm Elsa Wilkin of Bristol. I'm a former diplomat, and now I am the founder and owner of Kenwa Consulting Limited. Kenwa is an international business development consultancy. Focus is twofold: marketing consultancy and brand ambassadorship. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. Did we lose you? I think you're on mute.
Yes, I am.
Oh, there you go.
Hello, everyone. I am Lumbie Mlambo. I'm also known as the Water Lady, and that's for a reason. That's because my focus is water. I'm also a Global Goals Ambassador because I do understand that water, intersects with a lot of things. So having said that, I work in Africa, in other countries as well, to provide access to clean water, sanitation, and hygiene for underserved communities, mostly communities of women and girls. And why women and girls? That's because they're the ones who are the collectors of water. They have to walk miles to fetch water. And I started out by saying that I'm a Global Goals Ambassador because there's so much water, because it crosses so many things, right? So as we provide water, we also make sure that there's agriculture. There's water for agriculture, there's water for farming, and all types of things, so that we also bring about food security. So that is who I am. I am the Water Lady, Lumbie Mlambo.
I love this. On that side of my screen are the two lovely ladies with the water backgrounds and the palm trees, which is fantastic. I love that. Emma, thank you for joining us from Africa. I assume that's where you are right now. Or are you in Brazil?
No, I'm in Ghana, Africa at the moment.
Okay. So share a little bit about yourself and your company, if you will.
Brilliant. All right. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm Dr. Oliveira, a multi-award winning international dental surgeon and an entrepreneur. So I'm the powerhouse behind All Small Dental Clinics, which has branches across Ghana, and also the founder of Medical and Dental Real Estate, which is a company dedicated to helping aspiring professionals achieve clinic ownership. I'm also a key player in various global ventures, including initiatives that connect the African diaspora with their heritage. So my work spans across continents and industries. So I'm a leading voice in both the healthcare and the business industry. So that is who I am. Thank you for having me today.
You know, as I hear you all talk, and I know each one of you, and some of you have, I think, some nonprofit interests and also some business interests. So, in just kind of a show of a hand, how many of you have just business interests? Just business interests, no nonprofit, like you don't have a nonprofit or a foundation? How many of you have both?
I have both.
You have both. Okay, so you have both. Lumbie, you have both. You have just the nonprofit, right? Just the nonprofit. Michaelene?
Yeah, I've got a combination because I'm
Yeah.
the chair of many nonprofit as well
Okay.
as
Okay, and Tsegga, you have both. Okay, and
Yeah.
Elsa, business.
Just business, but I am the executive brand ambassador for Caribbean Global Awards. So I work close with
Okay,
Michaelene.
so you work with Michaelene? Yeah, okay, there you go. And my cat has shown up in the background. I am sorry for that. She's decided to co-host as well. She's not going to be left out. So I'm going to see if I can remove her from the scene. There you go. Okay, so Mimi, we are now with you. And so what we're going to do is ask you to share about you and a little bit about what you're doing and then your background of what led you to this wonderful, interesting work that you're doing.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Mimi Donaldson, and after 30 years of keynote speaking on the big stage in front of thousands of people, it's time to pass the torch. So I used to do it for free for my girlfriends while I was making speeches for big companies, and they would say, "Can you help me on my speech?" I'd say, "Yeah." And then one of the women a few years ago, 17 years ago, was on that couch right there. And she said the 7 words that changed my life. She said, "I would have paid you for this." And I went, "What?" And so I started being a coach, and I wanted to get off the airplanes and the hotel beds anyway. So that is how I became a coach. And now there's this wonderful thing called TED Talks. And so I coach people for TED Talks. I just am having my number 23 goes on stage in September in Indonesia. In Bali at a university, there's a TEDx. Everybody's got a TEDx everywhere. And so I love the format because it's 15 to 17 minutes, which is exactly what you get for fundraising or any kind of short speech. People want to know, what do you do? And you must answer it in a concise way, but so that it's memorable. And so I like to say, you have to answer the question, what do you do? Or what do you want? In 30 seconds or 30 minutes. But there is a formula, which we will get to it, and it follows the listener's train of thought. It follows what your listener is asking you in the thought bubble. That's kind of like a cartoon. You have the thought bubble above somebody's head is what they're thinking. And so the keynote speaking, to answer the question so that the audience members are doing what Mary's doing right now, which is nodding. They nod very subtly. Sometimes they go like that. Sometimes they go like this, what you want. You want people to say, right, she's right. And then the ultimate wonderfulness is when they start talking. Have you ever spoken to a group that started talking about what you're saying right in front of you? And that's the ultimate connection. It doesn't throw you off. You go, yeah, that's right. We're talking. We're excited. So that's what I've been doing for, my gosh, over 40 years now. First speaking myself and always training and helping on the way. People want to know, how do you do that? My background is human resources. I was a trainer at Walt Disney, Northrop Aircraft, and Rockwell. And I trained men, because there were no women employees back in the 80s. So it was men, managers who were ex-military, who had to make presentations, and they'd get up there and go, so the update is da-da-da, da-da, da-da, and it would rat-a-tat. It was boring. And so they wanted to know, how do you speak so that you can get a raise or make an impression or be kept on the project? Every time they would say, it's just a project update, I would say, no, it's not just anything. It's, do you want to stay in that job? Do you want to be promoted? Do you want to be respected? Do you want, and with you guys, it's really simple, because at the end, the call to action, and we'll go through the formula, is open your wallets and your hearts. And, people love to give, but you have to give them a reason. You have to make it very like a movie. They want to see a movie.
Yes.
I always say, thank you for the detail, because the more specific you can be on your stories that you tell, whether it's a success story before and after, or a story of your life, the more detail you can put in, the better.
I love detail because I'm a visual learner, and it paints a picture. And often telling people, especially when they're looking for money, I said, I'm not really understanding all the technical stuff that you do. Paint me a picture. Show me how it's going to be used.
Exactly.
Whatever you're doing is going to be used. So
yes, because I always say, if you're writing an article or a book, people can always look back. They can press rewind on the film, but they can't press rewind when you're speaking in front of people. That live speaking thing is the thing I coach on, because you have to be so logical and take them by the hand and lead them where you want them to go, slowly and carefully, so that they are nodding and getting it. Because if they go like this, the minute they start going like this, what she said, then you lost them.
You've lost them. Yeah. Well, let's kick off some conversation here with you just sharing. Would you mind sharing like a case study or, somebody you work with? It's pretty interesting, and let us know how that works out.
Well, right now, the Indonesian person, who's not really Indonesian, she's a Peruvian expat. So she came with her husband from Peru after working in high-end hotels in Ibiza and Spain. And she's in hospitality. Now she trains hotel staffs in guest service. But hospitality, she's into the kindness, and the working title we're using for her TEDx is Hospitality, the Key to a Kinder World. Because right now, and what I tell my TED talkers is, you must solve a need that is happening right now. And that's what you all do, is there is a problem in the world, for instance, water, and you give them a solution. And you tell them, here's how we do it, and here's how you can help. So it's a problem because the first thing in the people's minds, the first thought bubble is, and picture the worst audience you have, which is like this. I mean, hardly you'll ever get a person like that, but you picture this one because the thought bubble above their head says, why should I listen to you? What's in it for me? That's the question. So you must lead with the need right away. Whether you're doing a TED, whether you're doing a fundraiser, whether you're doing a keynote speech, lead with the need. And 4 words, those 4 words I say all the time because people don't. They lead with, hi, I'm so-and-so, and our cause is so-and-so, and our mission is so-and-so, and we do this, and we do that. Well, okay, there's a time for that. It's called step 2. It's after step 1. Step 1 is answering, why should I listen to you? What's in it for me? And that's when you lead off with a problem. So for instance, the problem in the world for this hospitality woman who's going to speak about that in September, the problem is people aren't kind to each other. And what she uses as an example to draw a picture for her audience is she uses a video that went viral. She may not show it. She doesn't have to show it. She just has to describe it. She says there was a bike accident on Bali, the island where she lives, and the biker is down on the ground, and the video is somebody recording it. And it struck her, wait, there's this person recording it. Why aren't they helping? And this is a real, and it's just such a great little story, but it really symbolizes what the world is dealing with right now, which is that people aren't pitching in. You guys are, but people aren't. That's why you want to get people to pitch it, but they're not pitching in and helping. They're recording it. For what?
To get the views. Yeah.
So that it'll go viral and they'll get likes? Are they going for likes? Is the world into like getting likes, which mean nothing? And so, I mean, I'm on a soapbox now, but this is the problem that she sees. Now, Indonesians, she does say, are the ones helping mostly the time, but not always. The things that go viral are somebody else's terrible problem, but somebody's recording it. So she talks about it. And then, of course, step 2, after the whole purpose of your beginning of your speech is to get people to uncross their arms, lean forward, look at my face and say, that is a problem, right? We could listen to her. So that's what you have to do is you lead with the need so that people uncross their arms, they lean forward, they say, okay, what you got? Okay, that's a problem. What you got? How are you going to fix it? That's when you do your step 2, and that's the solution. Step 1 is here's the problem. Step 2 is here's the solution. So you can make the problem as movie-like and detailed as you want with all the details. She describes the person on the ground and they're bleeding. But then step 2 is what you do to correct it. And it's a summary. Obviously, you're not going to give them all the bells and whistles on the first introduction. But steps 1 and 2 is here's your problem and here's my solution. Then the audience looks up, follows logically, and the thought bubble above their head says, well, who are you? Why are you the one? Because let's just assume they haven't read about you. They don't have a program. They didn't bother listening to the person who introduced you. Let's say they slid into their chair late and there you are. Who are you? So after you do, here's the problem in the world or in your area, and here's how we're trying to fix it. Then the third step, they ask, well, what gives you the right to talk about it? Why are you the one? That's when you do kind of the stuff you did in the intros today. That's when you bring out your 1 or 2 sentences that make people go, that's why I should listen to her. It's those 1 or 2 credibility statements. Mine is for 30 years, I was on the big platform in Fortune 500 companies in front of thousands of people. Okay, so that's my claim to fame. Would you want this person writing your speech with you? Yeah. Would you prefer this person rather than someone who's never been on stage? Yeah. So that's my claim to fame. It's just my little phrase, and it's only a sentence. But people go, oh, because not everybody can say that. So it's the thing that you've got, that you've been working in. It's how you paid your dues. And that's step 3. And so those 3 steps are really interesting, because whatever your call to action is at the end, which is fundraising, or for me, it's having people work with me. At the end, they maybe sign up with me or recommend me to a person that they know who could use my services. But whatever step 7 is, which is the call to action, steps 1, 2, and 3 are always the same.
That's good. Taking notes. This is good. I want to see what questions that everybody has. Libby had to step away to handle an emergency situation right now, but I want to see what questions there might be from anybody right now. Does anybody have a speech they've got to give sometime soon, or a talk of some kind? Any questions? Okay.
Or anything that came up in the last speech that you know didn't work, and you want to know why didn't it work? Isn't it always
Didn't make you feel right about it, or something that you feel
over 30 years
in front of a large audience, or something that you've got to do, a webinar or anything like that.
Right.
Yeah. Elsa, anything? Maybe a question? She's thinking.
Have you got any signature? Do you have any signature stories? Signature stories are stories you tell that little thing and people respond. And I call it a signature story. And the more you do it, the better it gets.
Okay. Well, it's Tsegga, you've got something. I think you're on mute. Are you?
No, I'm good.
Okay, okay.
So
Go
Mimi,
ahead.
yeah, thank you. So Mimi, I like the way you gave us the journey of A, B, C, D, and then the final kind of closure. It's interesting because one of the things that I use on the signature story is that, because I talk about women and girls, and the way I grew up, and the the culture in my country is when a girl gets at the birth of a girl there is ululation, and that means that they're happy. However, when they do it 3 times for the girl and 7 times for the boy. So I start with that. I make a big loud, everybody's waking up, say, and let me sound it to you so that you can hear it now. So everybody starts moving around, and I've started doing this every time I bring the notion of the diminutive way of bringing girls into the world.
Yes.
It's right there. And the funny thing is, it's not men that do it, it's women, because women are the ones that really help women give birth.
Right.
And so that tells you right there from the very beginning.
Oh, that's such a good beginning.
It's just so it's too much to begin with something like that, a life that is meant to be equal at the very beginning. So, and I say, so because of that, I'm an equity accelerator. That's the way I take
Beautiful. This is a gorgeous example of an opening. So instead of telling people in a boring way that women, even at birth, even as child, they start out less than, because men get 7, girls get 3. So she could have done it like that, but she didn't. She didn't tell, she demonstrated. She showed with an emotional reaction. It was like it's a demonstration instead of a telling, which I love.
Yeah, that was good. I like that.
But I have a lot to learn from you, so I'm coming back, Mimi.
That's so great, because her instincts, your instincts know that you need a positive reaction from the person. Instinctively, you know that they're sitting there wanting to know, entertain me, educate me, do something so I'll be interested. Why should I listen to you? And so she did a demonstration that immediately gets the attention. And 3 times versus 7 times, she doesn't have to lecture them. Just
sometimes you just, you do that little bit, and then you don't even have to explain it after that.
Well, she does, then she explains it. Then it makes sense because they've experienced it.
Wow, that's amazing.
So good. And so your natural instincts will tell you this formula. This formula wasn't made out of people's brain. It was made from, here's how the audience asks questions, and you have to answer them in that order. Because audiences want you to give them a logical path and want them to, because they can't press rewind. There's no rewind on a speech. Whoa, I wish there were, but there are not. Sometimes you
Yeah.
want to take it back because you see the audience.
Or I wish I said. or I wish I-
Yes. Oh, if only I had said that. Yeah.
Yeah. Michaelene, you have an interesting, situation where you have to be on stage almost like an MC then for the award shows and things like that you do. So you're actually having to do it a little bit differently, but also cheerlead the ones that you're bringing up to the stage in a way that makes sense for each person. But at the same time, you're promoting yourself and what you're doing with Global, Caribbean Awards. You've got a unique scenario where you're pitching them, but you're pitching what you're doing as well, because that's important work as well. What is a challenge for you in what you're doing? Do you see? I mean, what you have to do?
Well, I do a lot of presentations remotely or face-to-face. On the 14th of November, I'm presenting to over 200 doctors at the Royal College. So I'm accustomed to doing that from various topic research that I have joined, collaborated with, or it might be an issue. We have monkeypox right now. So therefore it's all different things from public to motivation, professional leadership, that sort of stuff. And so the Caribbean Global Awards, Elsa is the hostess with the team. This year I've just passed it over to them, and I just got my script as the sole founder. And just to say a few words, but Mimi, it's so important for us to get trained. I was really well trained by someone Donna Cara, who is a Canadian, and she's a dear friend. And so I've been doing it for many, many years. The most important thing for me, so like on the 14th or when I'm going to be doing this patient safety event summit, people from all over the world, there's over 200 people. One of the key things for me is that unlike a lot of people, I sort of put 10 key points that I want to convey.
Nice.
So my key points are always, like if I'm doing a research paper, I do an introduction, the methodology behind it, which is other researchers' take on it or whatever it is. And then I go to sort of like, what are the findings? What are people finding, whether globally, locally, or wherever it is, based on the topic. And then I sort of open the chat for what I would call breakthrough thinking. What do you think as a person in a contributory sense? And then I do a conclusion, which is, and I always end it, I said, this is my personal conclusion based on the evidence that I've provided here. This is my personal conclusion. However, if you in the audience have something different that could actually change my mindset, I say to them, it's like a smoker. Yeah. For you, the person who's a non-smoker, you will be thinking logically, health, my lungs, impact on others, all of those wonderful things, the public health banner that you see when you go. But for the actual smoker, there's a sense of mood relaxation that comes with it. There is this peace, there's this soulness of just me and my cigarette. It is a bond that is so precious. So this has changed my mindset. Think of me as that really a smoker that's been smoking from day one and just enjoyed in my finding.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
That's a great analogy.
It make me go, I'm so glad to be here with you. So I always end that. It makes me feel not only that I'm coming to impart knowledge on you, but when I leave here, I'll be looking for the nearest medical library or Lancet or one of them to change my.
That's funny. And that leads right into the next part, which I wanted to tell you about, which is everybody's asking, well, what are steps 4, 5, and 6? If step 7 is the call to action, what are and what you've just said, that's it. It's the content. It's the before and after stories. It's the, as Mary says, case studies. It's the analogies and examples like you just gave. I mean, you can, smoker versus non-smoker, but picture the smoker who's got a relationship with that cigarette. And it's just us, babe. It's just,
By the way, I'm not as well.
I know, neither am I.
But you did
Neither am
well.
I.
What a good actor.
But you can really, because when you say that, it's such a well-known addiction that people have.
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
it's so well known, and you don't get between a person and their cigarette, and
Mm-mm.
that's really funny. But all those examples that she just drew so beautifully, that's steps 4 and 5. Those are steps 4 and 5 are the features, benefits, the
Yeah.
before and after stories. People can bring up other people who have benefited or whatever you want to do. Fundraisers.
Get them to start to identify.
It's
you know?
it's the stories. And then step 6 is the why story. And that's what Mary asked me at the beginning. Step 6, right before the close, the audience is asking in their thought bubble, well, what's your deal? Are you just in it for the money? Like, why are you tied? What part of this would you do for free? Like, what's your heart? Is this your passion? Is this your why? Because I'm not going to buy into it unless I know how you are personally deeply connected. And that comes before the call to action for a reason. Because they have to know you're human. I've had beauty queens and, successful politicians, and they get up there and their why story is always, it wasn't always like this. I mean, she looks so beautiful. Well, like Alana, like the person that Mary and I both know. I mean, she's like this beauty queen, but she had a really hard childhood. So when she talks about her childhood and how tough it was, people go, wow, if she could do it, I could do it. If she could do it, maybe I can give so that other people can find their way the way she did. So it's a personal why story. And I never lead with it because I think it's a little manipulative. Simon Sinek wrote that book, Start With Why. And he said, you can either manipulate or inspire. And if you tell it at the beginning, I've had too many speakers I've heard, because I've gone conferences for 30 years where I was speaking, but I always attended the other days and saw the speakers. And if you lead with the heart story, it can come off manipulative. But if you save it for right before the close, and you save it after you've given the audience some heartstrings and some value, then you can tell your why story, and then it fits beautifully in there. So that's step 6.
That makes sense, though, because that it gives, once you say your why, that passion is on a roll there. And you've got people really listening.
Well, they know you're human, and people are reciprocal people, and you've just given them a laugh and a tear. And so people want to give you something back. And what they can give you back is they can open their wallets.
There you go. Michaelene.
No, that is truly what people feel at the end. Wow, this woman gave me something, and now she wants
I gotta give something back.
in return. People are reciprocal.
Yeah, I just want to say,
you have a question.
I shan't say anything more, but I think Elsa would be quite shocked to hear this. But my father passed, and I had a conference with leaders in technology revolution for health informatics, and they were held in a place where influencers were there. And so here my dad passed. And then the next morning, I am scheduled to be there. So the choice is, what do you do? How do you put on your makeup, get dressed, or do you say, I can't? So it comes back to that value token. I make no bones about it to anyone I speak to, that I love money. I don't care who you are. I tell you straight, I am qualified, I work hard, and I must be paid for my value. So I'm not going to apologize to you for economic value setting. I don't use the word.
No, that's different. Yes, that's different.
So I don't use the word money. I don't use it. I let you know I need to be compensated adequately. I got up and I knew I had to be in London for 12 o'clock. And I was up and the tears were just pouring and I together. But I had to continue with the Caribbean Global Awards. I can see Elsa looking at me like this. I'm continuing with the meetings. I'm doing everything because I'm very private in that context. Very private. And I hide away from people who I think could get into the emotional bone. So I attended this thing and I thought it was 30 people. It wasn't, it was 75. It was just filling up. There were people standing, there were people everywhere, and I had to go on the stage. And when I went on the stage, the person before me talked about loss and bereavement. Now that's just great, isn't it?
Yeah, what a great setup that is.
See, we're set up.
I'm like, well, this is gonna be just fine. And I got up and I said, listen, I here with my company, it's a small company, and but there is another aspect that you will leave here with something, but I just need to tell you that today's not a good day for me.
Wow.
But I'm here because of I'm committed and I'm dedicated. Oh, and I said, and I'll tell you why it's not a good day for me, because I had a pass. Someone passed. I didn't say that. I'm not going to go into that. I said, but however, we will just get down into the fundamentals of this. So it's supposed to be an hour. So if I stop at 30 minutes, I just want you to know that the same blood that runs in your veins, it runs in mine. And I can only hold this emotion for this bit. And I turn with my iPad to put it down, and I look up and everybody was standing. Oh, they were all standing, just standing. And I just like
Lost it. Yeah, you lost it. Well, they felt.
And I don't know who it has brought up tissues, and I just went through it and they clapped. But the thing is, I would say to all of us here that challenges, and Mary and I go back, so she knows my keys, yeah. And I'm proud to see Emma here and Elsa here, who have introduced her. And I tell you why, because all face challenges. Some of them are small, some of them they hit you so deep in your soul that you don't know if you should move. And it's at that point, when you are hit and you start thinking, that's the point you should forge ahead. Because by going to that meeting, I can proudly say to you today that Caribbean Global Awards has hit a jackpot today.
Wow.
We've hit the jackpot being in Times Square on the billboard for a long time, and we're going on the billboard this weekend. I haven't paid, Caribbean Global Awards haven't paid anything. Going to that.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
But one of the biggest banking sector across Africa has reached out and going to be our gold sponsor. Now, ain't that something? If I had liked it, why did you leave me, Dad? Dad wants me to get up and get going. And that's exactly what I'm saying to you, ladies. I don't, and wherever this is published, wherever it's shared, whenever you hit rough road, that's the time to tighten your shoes, ignore the toxic, the naysayers, and forge ahead. Forge ahead.
And that's the inspiration. That's step 6, and that's inspiring. And that's why people got up, because she opened her heart, and they get it. People get it when you share from the heart.
Yeah, that's good. I want to see if Emma and Elsa have anything to share or to ask. You've been listening intently. Emma, you look like you might want to have something to say.
Yes, I actually do. And so when it comes to public speaking, it's essential to know your audience and then the culture of the people there. I'm saying it's based on being a Ghanaian, right? So in Ghana, we have hand gestures, and certain hand gestures are you're not supposed to do them. It's disrespect. For example, in Ghana, when you are speaking, you're not really supposed to be using your left hand. Okay?
Yeah.
Using your left hand is seen as being disrespectful.
I understand.
Yes. So I'm saying that it's very crucial for you to know your audience, know the culture of the people, so that you don't make certain mistakes.
Beautiful.
And then another culture is the Brazilian culture, because my husband is Brazilian, right? And I've lived there for a very long time. So with the Brazilian culture, they like, when you're speaking, they want you to be a bit, depending on the crowd though, you have to be a bit fun. You need to make it very fun. and interesting to get them engaged. You see, my Samba people, they want to be happy and all that. So when you're speaking to such a crowd, you can't be all tensed and serious. You need to have some kind of flair and be very, a bit jovial, very happy, and make your speech exciting. So that is when you get the attention of the people. So that is what I have to share.
Beautiful. Well, that's always when we prepare a speech, you don't just march into the step one. There's 2 steps before that. Number 1, know your purpose. In other words, what do you want your listener to do, think, or feel after you talk? Well, that's a purpose. What do you want your audience or your listener, if it's just one person, to do, think, or feel after your speech? You need to think about that. Most people say, well, I just want to inform them about my business. No, you don't. You want them to do, think, or feel something. And sometimes we brainstorm. What do you want them to do? Maybe sign on the dotted line, but what do you want them to think? That you're professional, that you're credible, that you're believable, that you're trustworthy, so there's all kinds of do, think, or feel. That's number 1 before you start writing the speech. Number 2 is what you just said so beautifully, Emma. Know your audience. How do they want it? Do they want a lot of facts and figures, or do they want a samba? I mean, do they want to laugh, or do they want a PowerPoint deck? Do they want a handout with lots of small writing, or do they want cartoons on the PowerPoint? What do they want? Do they want music? So it's how do they like information? And it's tough if you're in my biggest audience was 17,000. How should I know what they want? Except that they were all insurance salesmen.
My God.
And men. It was the Milwaukee. It was in Milwaukee. It was the Northwestern Mutual annual conference. So, and it was in
You came from Disney. How did you know?
Insurance was, because insurance people, that was one of my first clients. I've been in business since 84. I was at Disney in 79.
Okay, gotcha.
So I've been in business since 84. So yeah, insurance was one of my things, and I got chosen to be the speaker. But you have some commonalities with them. They're salespeople. They're always, kind of need bolstering. They need motivation. One of my points to them was, you've got to, and you know how you sell to people? First thing is sell to the team at home. You better make them, your team and your fans and be nice to them when you get home, because it was just, anyway, there's some commonalities even in 17,000 people. So if you know your audience, Emma, that's a brilliant, that it goes before putting one word on a speech paper. You got to know your audience.
Very nicely done. Now, as we're ending up, we've only got a few minutes. I just want to see if Elsa, you have any comments or questions to give you an opportunity to speak.
No question at the moment, but yes, I agree. You have to know your audience, and it has to be a mix of making people smile, making people feel, and a call to action.
Beautiful.
For me, when I give a speech, it's normally storytelling, and sometimes I would say, "Let me take you on a journey," and I will give an example. And it's about culture, because culture is my zone of genius. Understanding and merging into a new culture is something I've done over the years, because I've lived in 8 different countries.
There you
So
go.
for me, it's easy, and I could be able to identify what I would say to a Dutch person versus someone from the Middle East versus Peru. So, and they're all different. But you have to be able to connect with the audience. For example, I'm the host for Caribbean Global Awards, and my intro would be excellencies, honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Bonjour. Buenas noches.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, it will be all of that.
Alaikum salam. Salam alaikum and wagwan. Because you know why? We have lots of Jamaicans in the house. And that was that was my intro. And then I start talking about the different things of the Caribbean.
Beautiful.
So I am able to touch a category of people within that same room.
Beautiful. And that's a wonderful thing to do at the beginning. The other thing that Emma did that I wanted to point out, You know how the old phrase, tell an audience what you're going to tell them, then tell them what you told them? Okay, so when she says, let me take you on a journey, what did the little child inside of all of us went, ooh, goody, oh, good. Because we all kind of like got comfy because that's what we want. We want someone to take us on a journey. And so when she said, let me take you on a journey, it's like, yes, thank you. So you're telling them what you're going to tell them. And you get people ready to go on that journey with you. Audiences are like computers. They need an instruction fed, and then they will respond. It's just like a computer. You press this, it does that. Audiences, you say, let me take you on a journey. You can feel the sigh in the room. You can feel people go, thank you so much. We're so happy.
Yeah, it's softer. It's not
so
like, oh
beautiful,
gosh,
though. I mean, it's the same.
I have a lesson to learn.
They
This
want
is
to
a
see a movie. They
workshop.
want to go on a journey. Oh,
Yes. This is so good. Mimi, you are a gem.
number
I
one,
understand.
you've got this. And
Yeah.
the two sins I say the audience won't forgive you for is getting them nervous. So, and not being yourself. So getting them nervous would be, like, but Emma just relaxed them. Like she said, let me. So now they know she's in control. She's got this. I don't have to worry about her. And not only that, she's going to take me. I'm ready.
Yeah. Well, Lumbie's back, and Lumbie, you came right at the very end. So I'm going to give you the last word before we close it out. So do you have a question or a comment?
No, I don't have any questions. I really did enjoy Minnie when she was talking about how to give a speech and what makes the audience engaged, and boring speeches will never get you anywhere, and all that stuff, and how to really engage. So I kind of like that. I really enjoyed that part.
Thank you. I always say to my clients, a speech is not an article you read out loud. If it were, we could write it in an hour, you could read it, and it's fine. No, it's a connection. After every sentence, you look in the audience and you connect back. So it's you saying to the audience, first sentence, I got you. And then you look back and they go, oh my God, you got me. And they're delighted. And then you answer back, I got that, you got that, I got it. And it goes like that. That's a speech. It's different from an article you read out loud.
That's
Very nice.
fantastic. Yes, I love it. And I think that this is going to be like one of my favorites, I think, this year. This is so good. Mimi, final words from you as we end up this episode of Frontrunners in a Day.
Good. Final words. My email is real easy. And if you go to mimidonaldson.com, just like my name is spelled, but it's mimi@mimidonaldson.com. So it's easy. But I always offer a free 30-minute consultation about your particular speech or need. And I love doing that. So I do it all day long. And then I have clients who, who have speeches to do. Absolutely. I would love to talk to you, complimentary Zoom with you. So just email me or go to my website. You'll see. Look, there's on every page it goes, schedule a 30-minute call. Like that's what on every page of my website, because that's what I like is the 30-minute call with individuals.
Fantastic. Well, I do have somebody for you to meet, Miss Mimi, at some point after this. Yes, I've already talked to them about you. But I want to say, awesome, ladies. You did terrific. And I've enjoyed. I took a lot of notes. I took like 3 pages of notes. And I was asked yesterday to do a little speaking thing. And it was for a young girls, event type thing in Africa. So I will be doing that sometime in early September. So I may be back at you to say, fix me up.
Wonderful.
It worked really well. But anyway, we'll be back at you, I'm sure. So I want to say thank you, everybody, for being with us on this particular journey today. And we will see you again next time on Frontrunners in a Day. Bye, everybody.
Thank you for this opportunity. I really loved meeting all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you,
Bye.
Mimi.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, Mimi.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.